Alright guys, welcome back to the workshop. As you know, we took a little bit of break building our press to put our plasma table together. So hopefully that's going to facilitate some of our press building. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut out a piece to put a top plate on the press. And then we're going to cut out 3 different pieces that are going to go together. And it's going to be our, I don't know what you call it, but it's going to be the top holder for our hydraulic cylinder. Alright, so we have our 3 pieces cut out for our top hydraulic support. So what we're going to do now, take it to the grinder, we're going to chamfer edges so we get a nice good weld. We're also going to drill some holes, a couple holes inside, do some rose welds, and then we're going to put them all together. So we have a bunch of grinding to do, some welding to do, so let's get to work. Alright, so we got our pieces all ready for some welding. We got our holes drilled, chamfered. Let's do some welding. Alright, we have all our pieces cut out. You see they need cleaned up. So we're going to clean them up, get the holes drilled and pieces that need holes drilled. Start them getting ground ready for welding. Go from there. Alright guys, this is where we're at. We're ready, almost ready to start. Put the cylinder in and start getting everything lined up for assembly. So what we have, this is going to be my top die holder. So these will actually be my dies. So my die will slide in, and then I don't have it ready yet. There's a piece over here. When I'm done, these pieces will be on the edge, so the die will slide in there. So I still got that to assemble. This is my bottom cylinder holder. Got to put that in. And then this is going to be the slide. So let me see if I can figure out how to. So these will be on this side of the I-beam. And then there'll be a plastic piece in here that's going to be my wear material. But that's what will slide up and down and hold everything together. So I think we're ready to put this cylinder in, get started. I did run into an interesting problem that was complete garbage. I was doing a dry fit in my cylinder, and I went to put my top pin in, and you could see where it's exposed for the cotter pin right there. And look at this side. It's pretty upset. This is the pin that the cylinder came with from the factory. It doesn't even fit. I think this is a manufacturing error, but I'm not too sure. These are actually different. So if you look at the bottom one, fits no problem. Both sides have the exposure for the cotter pin. No issues, but that top one, that was a bummer. So I think it's going to be fine, but what we ended up having to do was, this is the retaining pin. You can't tell too well, but I ground that down. It used to be about twice as thick and just barely enough to slap in there. So hopefully we can get away with that. Alright, we have it in there. I know you guys enjoyed watching that. Definitely my first try ever doing it. You know, but the first time, just like that, the very first time I ever tried, I didn't have quite enough man in me to hold that up there one-handed and put that pin in. I asked Brian Shaw to come help me. He said he's too busy. He probably could have done it. So I think what I'm going to do now is go ahead with my spacer piece. I'm going to go ahead and cut my plastic that's going to slide on that wall, and cut two of them, and that way I can get my spacing from side to side correct, and then we'll work it, get it all square, side to side, up and down, everything, and then start getting our plates and our things and everything welded together. here's what we have going on. Let me catch you up on the progress we've made on the press and the work that we still have left to do. So here she is. We do have the cylinder in. We've got our brackets built to hold our dies in place, and our bottom one's built. This will be what actually is our die, so you'll be able to go either way with it, but can't do it one-handed. Over here we have what our slide is going to look like. So you can see we got our piece of metal and then our HDPE plastic. That's going to actually slide up and down on there. And then this is just going to be a spacer. And then that one's going to slide up and down on this side. Keep it all nice, straight, and even. So I need to repeat that same process for the other three sides to get that done. We need to make some dies. I still have quite a bit of welding to do on the bottom, getting things finished, welding up, tied back together, you know, just finalizing the process of everything. Not sure yet if I'm gonna clean it all up and give her a paint job or what I'm gonna do, but we gotta figure that out. But I need to get my spacing on what it's called. My 4-position 3-way valve mounted and in position. That's probably going to go somewhere here-ish. And then I can mount my tank, my motor, get everything wired up, and start getting hydraulic hoses to plumb it up. And we're really getting close to being able to turn this thing on and smash something. So let's get to work, keep going. Alright, here's what's next. We're gonna go ahead and give her a down and dirty paint job. Make her look a little bit better, because you know what they say, grinder and paint and my welds still suck. So it is what it is. After we give her the good old paint job, we'll be ready pretty much for final assembly. So after we paint it, I'll need to mount my hydraulic tank, of course the hydraulic cylinder. We'll need to mount this bad boy of a motor. It's a freaking monster. Should keep our pump running at maximum capacity. You know, we got our hydraulic fluid, we got our hydraulic hoses, our valve. We're going to get all this mounted up. We're going to mount our electrical, get everything wired up, and we'll be ready pretty shortly. I still do need to finish on the cylinder, putting all 4 of my sides on, but that shouldn't take too long. So let's get to work and get started. We'll probably be able to smash something today. Okay, say hi. Say hi. Alright guys, here's where we're at. We got our paint job all done. We got our cylinder in. We got all of our side pieces, spacers, sliders, everything put on. Check out this sweet paint job. Unfortunately, I got my wife involved and she went ham on it. That's only partially true. Here's what happened. One of the first things we cut out on our plasma table was this. I don't know if you can see it very well. The word Acer. And this color scheme is very important. There's going to be some future projects involving that. It's going to be pretty sweet. So stay tuned. It's going to be super exciting. But yeah, it looks good. Paint looks good. So we just got to keep assembling. I think what I'm going to go ahead and do first is put in my motor. Get it all wired up with the switch disconnect power. Actually put power to it so I can go ahead and check rotation, make sure that's good, and then we'll start on the hydraulic system. Alright guys, we got our wire mostly done, except for this guy won't stay there. Make it look neat, but we'll figure something else out for that. So I left the motor cover off in case I do need to check rotation. Just looking at my pump. This is actually the orientation my pump will mount. And so, direction arrow, it's going that way. Let's give her a shot. Bearings to slow down. It's going the right way, so we don't even have to reverse rotation. Now we'll get our pump put back on, start hooking up all the hydraulics. Alright guys, welcome back to the workshop. Here we go, we're on the last stretch with the press. Here's what we have. So we have just the last bit of our little bit of hydraulics to put on. We need to fill up our reservoir, get some oil in there. We need to get the system purged. Pretty much fired up, and hopefully it works and doesn't blow apart. One thing I do need to do is for my die holder, I need to actually make some dies. So I think what the plan is, for right now anyway, I have just this 1.5 inch solid square bar. It's just mild steel. I'm going to go ahead and make my first set of dies out of that. We'll probably just do something simple like a drawing die and a flattening die. Just pretty basic. Just to get it moving, what I do want to do is get the press actually moving up and down. And then, because I'm not confident that this plate is square to this one, or it's got to be really close, but I want my dies to be rather perfect, so I'll pretty much squish them together, then tack them in place to where they're going to be exactly right. So, it's exciting. Let's get started. Alright guys, we're done. We had a dry run. Had to adjust my pressure a little bit. The first go around I was only getting about 1,000 psi. So I adjusted it up. I'm right about 2,500 when I tried smashing some metal. So my max is 3,000. So I have a little bit more room, but we're going to give it some shot. Some hot metal. Everything, go from there, but everything looks good. I didn't see any leaks or issues besides the mess that I made putting in the hydraulic oil, which was a super pain. Alright, let's see. I got a piece of wood in there. We're gonna get rid of it. Alright guys, it will smash. Alright guys, here we go. We're going to try to smash our first piece of hot metal. We got the forge one now. Got a piece of metal ready, and we got this ready. Now, one thing I don't know is, I know this piece of metal I had just sitting around, and I don't know what it is. I usually write on my metal and mark on it. So I know what it is, but I was looking at it. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but you can see there's quite a few layers in there, so I'm hoping it's some good metal and you can do something fun with it. That's where we're at. We'll just warm up, metal warm up, go from there. Alright guys, that was a lot of fun. You can check out the billet right there. That was only a couple heats. It was probably, I didn't measure, 3.5 inches or so, down to probably under a half all the way through. Like I said, I still got to get used to it. I don't know what I'm doing, but it was working well. I got to make a few dies already. I can tell that die in there is just, at least for a billet that size, it didn't do exactly what I would like it to do. It was a little too wide and kind of got into both sides of it. So I think I need to make a little bit wider one and just have a separate flattening die and a separate drawing die. But that's no big deal. That's easy to accomplish. We already did the hard part. It's working beautifully. Super excited. Thanks for joining along. I need to give a huge shout out to Hilco Fab for helping me with some of the design aspects of this. He's someone really good to bounce ideas off of, and you know, get some clarification how things might work. Thank you guys for joining me on this journey. We now have a functioning forge press. Appreciate it. If you guys like the video, you want to see more, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, and we'll see you on the next one.